Hey, welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. I'm DV LeBron. I'm doing these special series here for the nonprofits. Basically, I'm going to go to and interview several nonprofits coming up and hope that you will donate. One of the big things that we talk about is how we want less involvement of government. This is how we do it by helping our fellow man, by contributing to these organizations that are doing the work, so the government doesn't have to, and it doesn't cost you as much. So today, I have a very special guest. I have Mr. Rick Davis from Chains of Grace, and I also have a co-host today, doing things a little bit different here. I have Miss Tiffany Cara. She's going to help me out because she's actually the one who told me about this, and I'm very grateful to her. So I asked her to come in and join in and help me out on this. How you doing, Tiffany?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Isaac?
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, Rick, go ahead and tell me about yourself while I go and do what I told you I was going to do.
All right, DV, thank you so much for letting us be here. My name's Rick Davis. My family and I moved out here to Midlothian in December of 1988, DV, a long time ago. And we've lived out here ever since. Our four children all graduated from Midlothian High School. And three of our children, when they married, decided to live in Midlothian and to raise their children here. Our oldest one moved all the way to Burleson, so we get to see all our family very often. We moved out here in December of '88, and I became pastor of the First Baptist Church of Midlothian back when that was up on the hill there on the 67 Service Road. It's now owned by the city and operates a lot of city rescue services. But we were there from 1988 until 2001. And in 2001, I joined what was called then the Baptist General Convention of Texas. And I led what was called the strategic evangelism. And I did that for 6 years, and then began a different kind of ministry, and pretty much just traveled the world. I got as far as Hong Kong, going west of here, and then bounced back to Midlothian and headed east and got as far as Israel. And just have gotten to see the world, all the wonderful people in it, and just have had a tremendous time. My wife is Dr. Joan Davis, and Joan is a professor of psychology and counseling at Dallas Baptist University. And she'll get mad at me for saying this, but my wife, I have 3 degrees. My wife has 5, and she's never made a B. So if you want to be jealous of somebody, be jealous of her. She's never made less than an A. That's kindergarten through 5 degrees. The last one, her PhD in psychology and counseling. And
Yeah,
she's a
I'm a
full
hard C maybe.
professor.
Hard C. How
Hard
about you,
C,
Tiffany?
baby. Hard C.
D
I
is
know.
for
Uh,
diploma, is what I heard.
Yes, yes,
D,
definitely.
D for diploma. Yeah. Anyway,
So,
we have,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
What made
Uh,
you
our,
decide to get into this
yeah.
wonderful organization?
5 years ago, a little more than 5 years ago now, I had pastored the last church that I thought I was ever going to pastor, but I didn't want to quit doing ministry. And so I prayed, God, give me something I can do with all my heart for the rest of my life. And I enlisted 12 friends to pray that prayer with me, only I didn't tell any of them, any of the 12, what I was asking, that I was asking anybody else to pray, or what I was asking them to pray. And that had gone on for a couple of 3 months. And a fellow I hadn't seen for a while walked up to me in the Whataburger up in front of Brookshire's in Midlothian. And he said, what are you doing now? And I said, I'm kind of between, kind of praying it through. And he said, come go with me tonight. Let me show you something. I said, okay. And he said, now, this is something I think you could get involved in. And he said, I think you could do this with all your heart from now on. Now, keep in mind, I hadn't told him what I had 12 other men praying, and he just repeated the words of the prayer to me. And I said, okay, I'm in. And he said, don't you want to know what it is? And no, I'm in. It could have been zip lining the Grand Canyon. I was in. God put him in front of me to show me that I was supposed to do this. And we just had the most remarkable time. It's a tremendously challenging, but a very, very satisfying ministry. And I'm just grateful to get to take part in it.
That is an awesome story. I'm going to play a video here in a minute, but Tiffany, you got something to ask him?
Well, I was going to ask, I've had a lot of time to sit down and talk with you, Rick, obviously. But I wanted to, we've talked a lot about how you got here, but what is here? What is Chains of Grace?
That is, as usual, Tiffany, cutting right through the meat of it to get to the real question. Chains of Grace is thank you. No, thank you. Listen, I admire you more every time I'm around you, and I really don't care who knows. She really does. She's a remarkable young woman.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chains of Grace is a reentry ministry. And what we do is we provide reentry services and some supervision for men and women who are coming out of long-term incarceration. If a person's been in prison 20 years, every day in prison's about the same, but the world doesn't sit still just because somebody goes to prison. And so men and women come out and the world has just blown up. They've never seen some of the things that are out here. And a person can end up back in prison, not because they want to go back to prison, but because they're bewildered and they don't know what to do. So we do everything from, we'll go to Huntsville and pick up a person and bring them to one of our safe houses. We're primarily a residential ministry, though we're not limited to that. And we provide reentry services and supervision. And, people need document retrieval. My computer just went sideways and I'm going to have to plug it into something while you play the video. But, guys come out of prison, they don't know where their Social Security card is. They don't have a driver's license. They don't know where their birth certificate is. And so we'll go stand in line with them and we'll get their documents retrieved. We have a long list of felon-friendly employers because jobs are extremely important. If you don't have a job, you're in trouble. And we'll transport them because most of them don't come out with transportation, personal transportation of their own. We'll transport them to jobs, to interviews, to their meetings with their parole officer and any counseling that's required. We spend an awful lot of time with these guys. I think one of the most remarkable things we ever did was we have a young man still in the ministry with us who was in prison in Georgia, and he went to prison when he was 17, came out to us when he was 24, 23 or 24, and he had never driven a car. And so we decided we were going to teach Rashad how to drive. And before we got in the car the first time, he said, "Now, Pastor Rick, I've really never driven a car." And I said, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. I didn't know just how close to God I was going to get in the next half hour.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he and I both lived through it. No one was injured. And he's got his driver's license. He's got his own car. He actually works 2 jobs. And we've never, ever, in the time that we've had him with our ministry, never had a minute's trouble with him. He just, a big, sweet kid
That's
who made a
awesome.
mistake. And you know what? I'm kind of glad, DV. I don't know about you guys. I'm glad I didn't get busted for some of the stuff I did when I was 16 and 17 years old.
Well, definitely. I
And
mean, the good thing is that people like you have stepped up to help, and help these guys as they come out. And I mean, something like that, like driving, something we think so basic of. These are things that have to be learned. Would you agree, Tiffany?
He had
Yes,
never done it.
and something as basic also as just proper identification, papers that people take for granted, being very difficult. It's very difficult to prove who you are when you have 0.
Right. So I
Well,
wanted to play.
if what you lead with when you walk in for a job interview or anything, the only form of ID you got is your prison ID.
Oh,
Look at that.
It changes the conversation. So
let me go ahead and play this
yeah,
video because I'm really
please.
excited to show them this video. I hope they'll enjoy it as much as I did. Here we go.
See, all my adult life, all I did was medicate myself.
It took going to prison to get sober.
When I first coming out of prison, I was scared, and the system doesn't show you how to overcome them, how to be successful. They throw you in the street and you're on your own.
People that are just released back to the street, that don't have a support system, don't have a church home, don't have someone saying, you know what, this is what we need to do and this is how we're going to get it done. They go right back to what they were doing. They go back to what they know.
Without a place to go, you're stuck in the penitentiary. And it's a grievous thing because it's not a healing place.
I got out of prison in Georgia, and I have no family members whatsoever in Georgia, no friends. So for about a month, I lived in a motel. I basically kind of put myself in my own prison and just stayed in that motel room, almost never left. Basically sleep the days away, hoping that something good happens, doing what I can to try to find some type of light or hope in that situation, but it was very difficult.
This is where a lot of the work is done. This is where the applications go out. The phones are answered. Just to give you an idea, I was speaking earlier about 400 to 500 requests, and these are just some of the applications that I've got in a month. These are the letters that came in Saturday, and so I haven't processed those yet. When I was released, I came to Haven of Rest Ministries, went through the program, and in a very short time was asked to come in and help. I've been here for close to 12 years. And what we do is we now help people that are coming out of the prison systems or out of drug rehabs, things of that nature. And we give them a place to live, to get back on their feet, find employment, things of that nature. Unfortunately, a lot of the men that we come across were not raised by their parents. And so when our guys come out, we love them.
I don't know what to expect. Is it like an institution? Is it like a big square building? I don't know. And then I get out here and I'm like, oh, this is a home. I want to say that first night I stayed on the porch just sitting out there because I could look up and there wasn't barbed wire. There wasn't lights everywhere. There wasn't people with guns. It was amazing.
You're always a bit scared. But when I first went in, they started giving me hamburger. I went in there and sat down. Just all the guys just came to me and just started talking, and we started fellowshipping, and you know, just right from the beginning, it was good. Had a bed, had clothes, shoes. She provided me with medical care, taking me down there. She took me to all my classes, everything.
I wasn't prepared for, I'll help you, no problem. Yeah, I wasn't prepared for help, really, from going from a place of depression to seeing that there are people who are willing to help you. It builds you up, and it makes you start to like ask, why are people so helpful? Like, makes you start to think, maybe the world isn't as bad as you think.
And once that I crossed that door on that house that night, it was different. When I got into the house and the guys that were there, they welcomed me. I mean, they made me feel overwhelmed that night. You don't feel a disgrace. You are a person here.
This program, this Haven of Rest, Chains of Grace, is a Christ-centered program, and that's what we base everything around. So if you took Christ out of it, you have nothing. You just have, to me, you would have nothing.
You see God when somebody gets released from having to wear a GPS monitor. You see God when someone's parents let them have their used car. Just all the lifting up and help and support.
I couldn't tell you the thousands of prayers that's been answered here, all the healings, all the jobs, the vehicles, and this is family. I don't have any family in Fort Worth, Dallas area or surrounding area, but I do have family right here.
That it's honestly more closely knit than anything I've seen. And that it actually, when I look at it, reminds me of what I would think the biblical days were like, when love and compassion, faith were strong. And living isn't a chore anymore.
These ministries are a solution to help those that they believe they lost, but they not. There's a way to come out. And I hope every day more people be like them. And more places open like these ones. So we can all feel safe and not be scared.
Because like I said, I've been out on parole before and it didn't work. Went through AA. I've been through state agencies and stuff and I failed. But this is the real deal. When you bring God into your life, when you have people that care for you and love you, no matter what you've done in your past, and they're out here to love you and take care of you and make sure you're on the road for the up and up and help give you a better life. Now, I just pray that anybody out there listening to this will help Chains of Grace and Haven of Rest, because they do save lives and they do absolutely keep people out of the penitentiary.
The beauty of Chains of Grace is it comes alongside the church to help the church do what it's called to do, which is to reach out to those in need. But the church just doesn't have those kind of resources. And so what Chains of Grace does, that one of the things that we love so much about it, is it comes alongside, helps us do and extend kind of our ministerial reach. So by us supporting Chains of Grace, we're then able to broaden our ministry scope, so to speak.
Because there might be just one more. There may just be one more. And if we have to go through 100 to get to just the one more, I'm willing to do that. But because I made a covenant with God, my life was so out of order, addicted to drugs, getting beat on, and I made a covenant with God. Get me out of this lifestyle, deliver me from all of this, and I will serve you every day that I have left. And here I sit today, and I've been clean for almost 12 years, serving him every single day. And because he saved this one right here,
Isn't that something? Well, DV, did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I had to turn the knobs up. It was very touching. I mean, I love the talk about God and compassion, and so I wanted to ask
That
you.
was Rashad, by the way. He's the one I taught. Not by myself. Numerous ones were involved, but he's the one I spoke about that went to prison in Georgia when he was 17. Came out to us, and we taught him how to drive. And the reason we got him was he has family that lives here, and they contacted us, and God moved 3 different prison systems and allowed us to get him. It really can't be done, but God figured it out for us.
So is this primarily a faith based program? Is it related? Are you
yeah, DV, we're Christ centered. Faith based is, and I don't want to be a pain about it. A person can have faith in the chair they're sitting in, the car they're driving, a bottle of water. We're Christ centered, and that's who we are. That's what we're about. A person does not have to be a Christian to qualify to come to us, and they do not have to convert to Christianity while they're with me. But they do need to understand coming in that as long as they're with us, they're going to be hearing about it, because we think that's what makes the difference. Having a job, having a safe place to live, documents, all the other things that we try to do for these guys. If you don't have your spiritual need met, then the rest of it may not work as well. But we do all the other stuff too. But we're not just faith based. We're Christ centered, and we don't make any bones about it.
Okay. Tiff, you got any questions?
I do. So we've talked about Rashad. We saw your good friend, and was that Brian?
That was Brian.
We've seen Rachel. So what I've noticed in Texas, America in general, is when you start talking about reintegration and institutionalization, things like that, use the big words. Us normies, people that haven't experienced all that stuff, kind of get the oogies about it, and they feel like people are going to become recidivists or repeat offenders.
Right.
How many of those do you guys have in your program that have graduated?
The last time we had anybody go back to prison directly from our ministry or the sister ministry that Rachel was talking about, last time was May of 2018. We've had a few hundred go through the program since then. Some of them have lived with us, some of them have not, but our guys just don't reoffend. Our guys don't go back to prison. And our recidivism rate, I was telling DV earlier before we got on camera, nationally, within 3 years of being released from prison, about 67% go back. And if you take it out to 5 years, about 77% go back nationally. And so we really believe that if we can have some major influence with some of these guys and girls for 3 to 5 years, that they're much less likely to reoffend. If you can take away the need to reoffend, if they can have a decent job and decent living quarters, and be around people who are essentially positive with them and don't treat them like what was you said they have the oogies.
Yeah.
It's just it makes all the difference in the world. So our recidivism rate is just very, very low. I think it's interesting in Texas, the TDCJ, Texas Department of Criminal Justice, says that it costs about $135,000 a year to incarcerate one person. $135,000 a year. So in one of our houses where we have 8 guys, I mean, just do the math. We save the Texas taxpayer something between $1.1 and $1 million a year with one little house. And that's before our guys go back to work and start producing tax money. So it's, I mean, we're a good deal for the taxpayer, I believe.
So, speaking of money, getting into that subject, obviously it takes money to run an organization. How I'm gonna go? I've posted the link in the comments
Thank you.
for donating to Chains of Grace. I hope that those of you who watch later will go ahead and donate to this great organization. Can you tell me about how that's going and donations and some of the things you like as we wrap up, some of the things you'd like to see going forward?
We're 100% privately funded. Sometimes I think I make it sound like I don't like the government. I'm an American. I vote every time I get a chance. I love America, and I prefer the way we do our politics to the way it's done anywhere else. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Anywhere else in the world. But we don't take government money. We're 100% privately funded. We have churches that give to us locally. Earlier this year, First Baptist Church Midlothian, my old church that I've been gone from for 20 years, gave us a grant of $40,000. And that was just tremendous. We have recently used that to buy another house. And now, I mean, that was the down payment. They didn't buy the house, but it was great to have that $40,000 from First Baptist Church Midlothian to be, to help us do the down payment. And
that's amazing.
Now we're going to fix the house, and then we're going to start putting guys in it. It's going to be a blessing from now on. Creekside Community Church has helped us financially. Pastor Mack out at one church, their church has made a commitment to us. And then we have a lot of private donors. My personal goal is to have 1,000 people giving us $25 a month recurring. That would be about $300,000 a year, and we're not anywhere near having that yet, but that's my goal. And I spent a lot of time talking to people about it. And you can go on to our website, www.chainsofgrace.org. Yes, sir. Thank you very much on that banner. And just hit the box that says donate, and you'll have to answer some questions. and then you'll have to choose for your gift to be recurring. But I mean, $25 a month, that's a couple of pizzas, right? And if we had
I
1,000
could do it
people
out. I could do it out.
get, yes, sir. I mean, it would make that would enable us to pay everybody we need to pay and have 2 houses a year. And again, we're a bargain for the taxpayer. If you just want to figure it out financially, we save the taxpayer in Texas a whole bunch of money. Hey, before we leave, I also want to thank some of the local doctors. When I came on board with Chains of Grace, I was not asked to do this, but boy, it's just opened up. And a lot of local doctors and dentists have come on board with us and are providing medical and dental services for our guys pro bono. And man, I just want to thank Dr. Travis Brown, Dr. Kelly Felty, Dr. Jerry Ellis, Dr. Crystal Ellier, all of those local folks. The prisons are not set up where a whole lot of medical and especially dental care is available. We have guys who come out, and a couple of guys that you saw in the video, you know, I don't want to be embarrassing to them, but one guy, Will, one of the younger guys that you saw in the video, he came out of prison with one tooth up here and one tooth down here. And Dr. Jerry Ellis, God bless him, built a mouth for this guy, for Will. There's sometimes I wish that Will would not talk so much, but anyway, he's a great guy. Kind of, I tease him about now that he's got teeth, you can't shut him up. He's got so much more confidence. Well, I mean, when you're in your late 20s and you have 2 teeth left, 2 teeth, one on the top, one on the bottom, you're not going to open your mouth to talk to somebody. But Dr. Jerry Ellis rebuilt it. Dr. Travis Brown has just given time and effort and energy. And my guys, he's never charged us a nickel. And I don't want to embarrass him, but I mean, he takes care of my guys. And I truly, he's also my doctor, but he and Kelly Felty, Jerry Ellis, Crystal Ellier, who's an optometrist locally, these wonderful people, and a couple of others. We recently had an orthopedic surgeon who came on with us, and some of my guys need bone surgery. They got broken body parts from all the stuff that happened to them in life. And we have a GI doctor, wonderful lady over in Arlington who sees our guys. And I wasn't asked to do that, but God started opening those doors. And I'll tell you, if you haven't seen a doctor or a dentist for 25 years and you're still relatively young and you have a tooth left, boy, it makes a difference. To have this kind of help,
Well, I want to be one of the first. Well, not the first, but I'd like to thank those doctors and medical personnel who have helped them. It's out of your time and your dime, and God rewards you for those things. So thank you so much for helping your community. Tiffany, you got a follow up? Oh, you went silent.
I do. We've talked about what you guys do, who you guys help, how you help them. But my question is, and how successful you are. My question is, when you have reached success and somebody has graduated, what happens then? So you've got several hundred people that you said that you've run through the program. You said that you've helped them find paperwork, you've helped them find jobs, you've helped them friend Christ in some situations.
Yes.
But then after that, do they just ride off into the sunset and they're okay? Or
Some do. Excuse me. You've given me a chance to brag about another local guy, a guy named Jim Minsel, and Jim has come out to our site a number of times and held seminars for our guys at no cost to them to show them how to handle their money, because that's a big deal, and how to buy houses. I think, and I don't want to misrepresent this. We've had I think about 5 guys this year finish all what we do with them and finish their parole, and they have bought houses around some of our other sites, and Jim Minsel has shown them how to do that. Finding out how to buy a house. We've got guys, Tiffany, who don't know how to buy a car, and they don't know that they have to have insurance for a car. I mean, it's just, life can be bewildering. And Jim Minsel is one of the guys, along with Mike Marshall, who have come out and sat with our guys and just answered their questions and held their hand and walked them through it. And they haven't received a nickel for what they've done for our guys. But I tell you, when you're in prison and you've got 2 teeth in your head and you don't know, you don't have a car and you don't know where you're going, and you come out, and 3 to 5 years later, you're off parole, you have teeth, your medical situations have been dealt with, and your documents are available to you. And we've got guys, DV, Tiffany, guys making $18 to $25 an hour at some of the jobs we find. We're not talking about fast food. Not that there's anything wrong with that, just doesn't pay very much. And we find guys jobs, and I mean, we have guys who are a year out of prison, they're making $25 an hour plus benefits. It's a livable wage, and they're able to get caught up on the things that they let slide while they were in prison, and then they're able to buy a house. And it's just, to have your own car, your own house, your own job, and be able to move forward in life. In 5 years before, your life was the cell in a prison. In Texas, that usually means unair conditioned.
Yeah.
And, other tough stuff. It's just totally and completely different. We do keep up with our guys, and God bless them. Many of them do a wonderful job of keeping up with us. We hear from them. Many of them donate to the ministry now that they're gone.
Wow,
because they know what it did for them.
That is
Yep.
amazing. So they're giving back on
Yep.
top of going through these programs.
Yes,
Wow.
sir.
That is
Yes, sir. They
sir,
didn't
you
just pass through.
you have a great program that you're doing here, and you're doing God's blessing the least of us using you.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful that that Tiffany told me about you guys, and I hope that people, when they watch the show, they'll go ahead and donate at www.chainsofgrace.org. The links are in the comments. Tiffany, thank you so much for helping me with this interview and for telling me about this great organization. I hope I can have you back with some of the other charities if you have time.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy to help.
Definitely. Well, you guys take care, and thanks again for coming on. See y'all later.
All right. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Good
God
night.
bless.